So, guys, come with me as I go out to break up with my girlfriend. Yeah, this is me trying to get up from bed because I did not sleep well in the night. I was thinking about the plan to break up with her. Yeah, immediately I gained strength. I stood up. Finally, I did my devotion. I read my Bible and prayed. I also prayed for God to take charge of the breakup, for Him to protect me so that I will not be hurt. I've heard of cases where girlfriend bite boyfriend after a breakup. So I prayed for God to take control and spare my life. After that, I did some exercise. Yeah, this is me, doing some push-ups, some exercise. You need strength, both mentally and physically to break up. Yeah. Then I went online to browse on the best way to break up without getting hurt. I read through some articles, jot down some tips, practiced and memorized till they got stuck. Then I went to freshen up and get set for action. Before leaving the house, I quickly had my breakfast, which is very necessary because, I'm actually going to serve my girlfriend breakfast. So, breakfast before breakfast. Then I stepped out of the house fully prepared, full of expectations and hope. On my way, I stopped by a shop to get her some biscuits and sweets. Yeah, because, break up no be war. And she needs something to munch on while I break the news to her to cushion the effect. So finally, I arrived at her place. I knocked and she came out to open the door. Oh, she was looking so beautiful. On seeing me, she jumped on my body out of excitement and she ushered me in. At this moment, I was already skeptical about the whole idea. Am I still really going to break up? But I had already made up my mind. I was going to tell her anyway. Then I gave her the biscuit and sweets. She was so excited. She hugged and kissed me, making it more difficult for me to carry out my breakup plan. But I stood my ground anyway. I told her I had something to tell her, and she said, okay, but we should go into the room first. Wow. I said, no, that I wanted to discuss with her in the sitting room, but she insisted that we talked in her bedroom. So I obliged. She led me into the room like a sheep going to the slaughter. I could not even open my mouth. At this point, I knew my plan was already failing. We got into the room and it was very cozy. It scented with the fragrance of aloes, the bed neatly arranged, air-conditioned chilling, lights turned from white to red. And to make matter worse, she started playing some blues music. Oh God, Celine Dion to be specific. What's your plan? At this moment, I had totally lost it. And then she sat close to me and spoke softly in my ears. What is it you want to tell me? Immediately, I froze. I froze like a dressed chicken that has been placed in a cold room for weeks, ready to be exported. She stood up and softly pushed me to the bed, and I fell like a pack of cards. Now, this is the problem. This is the exact reason I came to break up with her. My girlfriend. This girl loves knacking so much. And anytime I make love to her, I see my life going down. I used to be a well-to-do guy, like very well-to-do. But since we started dating and knacking, everything began to crumble. Yeah, I know I have visions that I'm going to be a great guy, prophecies and everything. But this is the one thing pulling me down. God. Yeah, this is me. Again, going back home full of regrets after 3 rounds. Mission failed. And guess what I'm going to do when I get home? Yeah, you guess right. I'm going to fall on my knees again, begging God for forgiveness for the 100th time. And you know what? The cycle repeats again. My people, what should I do next?